Hi guys, how's it going? This is Stefano and you're watching Lingue Passione. Welcome back to my channel. Today's topic is how to learn 2 or more languages at the same time. Why this topic? Well, this is by far one of the most frequently asked questions that I get, so today I'm going to try and answer it. I know that many people think that learning multiple languages is not a good idea. I totally respect their opinion, but as I have been doing this for over 15 years, I cannot even imagine doing it differently. So today I'm going to tell you what my 5 main pillars are to learn multiple languages at the same time, usually 2. If you want to know more about this, keep watching and I hope you enjoy it. Alright guys, so first of all we have to ask ourselves, why learning more than one language at a time? Well, there are a number of reasons, aren't there? And chances are, if you are watching, you know which reasons these are. There are so many beautiful languages out there you want to learn, and you cannot wait to become fluent in one to start learning another one, right? I have felt like that many times. Also, sometimes there is one language that you want to learn because you like it, and then there is one language that you have to learn because you have to work with it or because you have to study in that language. So you can get to a point where you want to study more than one language at the same time. Sometimes you get too greedy and you want to learn 4 or 5 languages at the same time, but I don't recommend doing that. And now let's start with the actual tips that I want to give you today, okay? So my first tip is do not exaggerate, all right? Let's keep it simple. I do think that 2 languages at the same time should be enough. You can get to 3 languages, but one of these 3, in my opinion, has to be at least at intermediate level already, like between B1 and B2, so that you can learn advanced things in that one language and then 2 languages from scratch or at beginner level. This is still doable, I think, but the best thing to do is to limit the number of languages that you study at the same time to 2, okay? 2 languages at the same time. Let's not get too greedy. My second tip today is a very important one, and this is pick languages that are sufficiently different one from the other, okay? Sufficiently different, and the greater the difference, the better it is. And by that I don't mean just languages in different language families, such as Spanish and Japanese, for example, but also very different in the level of difficulty for you, according to your mother tongue. You should try and choose an easy language and a very difficult language. I do think that you need to have great contrast between the 2 languages, even as far as grammar is concerned, as far as vocabulary is concerned. On the one hand, a language where vocabulary comes relatively easily because you have a lot of overlapping between the new language and your own mother tongue or another language that you can speak already fluently. The same goes for grammar, for example. And on the other hand, a language where the grammar features are different, maybe sometimes in some cases simpler, in some cases more difficult, but the point is different. Like, for example, pick one language with grammatical cases and one language without grammatical cases. One language with conjugations and one language without conjugation, such as an Asian language, such as Chinese, you know, where the verb doesn't change depending on who does something or who is speaking. Remember, the greater the contrast, the better it is. My third tip has to do with time. I think that even as far as time dedicated to language learning is concerned, you should try and make it different, okay? Just using like 70 or 80% for one language, maybe for the difficult language, and 20 or 30% for the less difficult language is a good idea. You should have a main language to study and then a background language you want to study. I usually avoid learning like 50-50 that is dedicating one day to one language and another day to the other. I do try and focus on one and use the other one, the easier one, when I don't feel like studying too hard and I want something a bit softer, you know, then I dedicate more time to the second language. This also helps keeping the contrast large enough and avoid confusion for you. Another very important thing is try and keep your study sessions separated. Do not mix them, do not mix the different languages in the same study session. That is really bad. I have noticed myself when I was learning Chinese, for example, I would like look at a sentence and then stop and think, how do I actually say this in Japanese? And it just wouldn't come easy. So I would like panic and say, oh my god, my Chinese is destroying my Japanese. But this was actually not the case. It is just that in that moment, my mind was focused on Chinese and did not want to think in Japanese. Okay, so this is true for all other languages. Do not, when you're learning language A, do not try and translate the same thing in language B to check if one language is ruining the other language, or other languages that you already speak for that matter. Try and really avoid this trap, because it can get you confused and make you panic, and you better keep concentrated on one language per session. All right? This is something that I consider really important. So my fifth and last tip or pillar is just go with the flow. All right? Do more if you feel like doing more, and do less if you feel like doing less. I think that one thing that studying multiple languages at the same time allows you to do is to avoid frustration. In the sense that if you're learning just one language and you get frustrated with it, with its grammar or vocabulary, whatever, you have no way out. You're stuck with it and you get frustrated, and your frustration can only grow. Whereas if you're studying more than one language, you have another language you can resort to whenever you get frustrated with your main language. This way you can keep learning, you can keep studying and learning and having fun with languages. Your language learning experience continues to be a positive one, and after a while you can go back to language A, and probably that frustration is gone. This has worked wonders for me in the past, and I hope you can have a similar experience when learning your languages. Alright guys, that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. These were my 5 main pillars to learn multiple languages at the same time. So what do you think about it? Do you maybe disagree? Do you think one should focus on only one language at a time? Let me know in the comment section below. Let's discuss this topic. Also, if you're learning more than one language at the same time, what are those languages? Let me know, and as usual, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to see you in the next one very soon. Bye bye.